I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You will never be what I expected. Different frequencies, that's why we ain't connected. You know I will make it through, I got nothing to lose but you. It's true you're so far away, and it's true I can feel the same. It's another day, you know you want me to stay, but I go my way. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not, because I still believe. You're my gravity. You're my gravity. You're calling out my name, but the echo numbs your pain. Sorry, but more than just a shadow, I'm more than just a man. You don't care how I feel, you don't know how I feel. No, you don't know how. I wash away the sorrow till my heart can beat again. You're my gravity. No, you're my gravity. I will let you go, the only thing that I know. You were my gravity, but now I have to leave. I will let you go. Why do you feel that I want? What do you think that I want? I know how to breathe into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity, into my gravity. I know it's hard, I know it's complicated, but I promised you've been waiting here forever. I had a much to say, but you're not here with me, no. We're invincible, like fire in the snow. Trust me when I say you are my beautiful world, and I'm feeling it all, we should make an effort. It's true you're so far away, and it's true you don't feel the same. But if you take my hand, we can try and go back, starting from scratch. I won't let you go, no I can't let you go, 'cause you're my gravity, and I will never leave. I won't let you go, no baby I will not.
Warning: the Duracell Cup Series data file you have attempted to access is out of date. Uploading current file now.
It's a brand new car from stem to stern, and it's never been raced at these speeds.
The next gen car is opportunity.
Everything is different with the exception of like the seat, the steering wheel, and your helmet.
Unknown creates excitement.
Talking about my generation.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome here as we get set for race number 33, playoff race number 7, and the first race of the round of 8 here for season 8, or make that season 7 rather, of the NNSCRA Duracell Next Gen Cup Series. We are here at the Boston International Raceway, the 7th time we've been here to this racetrack at this portion of the schedule, and this racetrack never fails to disappoint in kicking off this round of 8, in figuring out who is going to be moving on to the Final Four to compete for the championship. Looking forward to seeing what it brings to the table here today. Qualifying was interesting yesterday as we have only 2 of our Elite 8 starting up inside of the top 20, and Casey Hoyt was the only playoff contender to even move on to the Fast 10 to run for the pole, and he secured it. Second pole of his career, and good starting track position here this afternoon as he looks to win his way into the round of 4 and go into both Daytona and Rockingham completely worry-free, knowing that he'll be battling for a title. 3 victories on the season, but I guarantee you none would be sweeter than if he were able to get it done here this afternoon at Boston. Fords were dominant in qualifying here as we have a total of 7 of them that advanced into the Fast 10, and 6 of them comprise the entirety of the first 3 rows, with Daniel Voiles lining up on the outside of the front row, Matt McIntyre, Will Goss, Keith Batson, and Mitchell Collins completing the top 6. But remember, as I stated, only 2 of our playoff contenders starting up inside the top 20, so a lot of drivers, a lot of non-playoff contenders with an opportunity of getting a checkered flag here today and then forcing us to have at least a maximum of 2 drivers pointing their way into the Final Four. We'll have to wait and see how that all plays out. Boston has already played a huge part into another series and its championship battle. If you didn't tune in yesterday, Benny Watson picked up his 3rd win on the season in the Duracell Ultra Light Series. He is now close to within 3 points of Eric Monaco. Austin Reed and Kyle Langland still mathematically in that championship battle as well, and we'll see how that all culminates when we get to the finale at Michigan. We still got a few races here for Cup Series, though, before they get to their finale as well in the Irish Hills, with both championships hanging in the balance. Let's go down trackside. Let's get those famous words in motorsports, because we got 75 laps to run here this afternoon at Boston International Raceway.
Drivers, start your engine!
Go out there and have a good time today. Make it happen at the end, my friend. Take thumbs up here. You're ready to rock and roll. Good luck to you guys on pit road down there today.
Right side of your screen, you see the starting lineup for this afternoon's race. You'll see a lot of your playoff contenders from the Elite 8 starting outside the top 20, including the points leader coming into this one, Dylan Poteet. He is going to be rolling off shotgun on the field, has the 5 bonus points from his win from Hanford in the last round. And the other 7 drivers, Casey Hoyt, Jesse Turner, Matthew Rodriguez, Reese Banks, Zach Rogers, Ryan Butcher, and The defending winner of this race, Jessica Shelton, going to be the drivers that will battle it out for the title. You saw the reformatted point standings coming into this round of 8. Green flag is in the air, and we are underway at Boston. Casey Hoyt looking to get that early bonus point here for leading the first lap as he'll clear Daniel Voiles, who will now tuck down in second, right in front of Matt McIntyre, coming off the runner-up finish last week at Arizona. Casey Hoyt will get that first lap led. He'll chalk that bonus point towards his total here during the round of 8. And hopes to advance into the final 4. Matt McIntyre going to move now into second past Daniel Voiles. Keith Batson looks to follow in line. Batson just recently eliminated from the playoffs last week. And looking for his first win on the season. See side by side with Daniel Voiles in the 26. It's interesting because I mentioned this after qualifying yesterday about I didn't know how important track position was necessarily going to be here today with all of our playoff contenders for the most part starting way back in the second half of the field. Well, I went back and looked at the information available to me, and in the last 3 races that I have information for, Season 3, Charles Sanford won the race starting 15th. Season 4, Ryan Brommer won this event, starting 15th. And last year, Jessica Shelton won this event, starting all the way back in the 28th position. So it is possible, obviously, for a driver that does not get the best of qualifying effort to be able to make their way up to the front and take the checkered flag at the conclusion, as Dylan Young has now moved into the 4th position. His teammate Will Goss now slots up into the 5th spot, and we've already got one of our playoff contenders making his way up into the top 10. That would be Jesse Turner in the 47, teammate to Casey Hoyt. Turner, I believe, was the 2nd highest starting of the playoff drivers. He did start inside of the top 10. I think he started 17th, if I recall correctly, and he is now making his way forward. Got kicked up to that outside line there. Kyler Sustre looking to the bottom for the 10th position. So Turner's starting to fall back a little bit, but at least up here, at least in the conversation of the top 10. Is looks like the Young Motorsports car is doing pretty well here in the early going. RJ Bishop up here in 9th. And then we mentioned about Will Goss and Dylan Young making forward progress. They're now up to 2nd and 3rd after Dylan Young completed the pass around Batson, and Will Goss followed through. Ford's 1, 2, 3. Then the Toyota of Matt Haas. Good run here in the early going for the endurance karting Toyota Camry. Matt Haas still looking for his first victory on the season, a former Daytona 500 winner here at Duracell Cup. And we're 3 wide back here, near contact between Sustre and Mills, as they were trying to take Keith Batson 3 wide for what would have been 6th position. Batson holds on to the spot. Sustre and Mills still side by side, and Turner's found his way back down to the bottom, trying to work his way back up into the top 10 once again. Battle for the lead is on, and it's over as soon as it was on. Dylan Young will go to the point. Casey Hoyt getting shuffled out from the top position. So Casey Hoyt leads the first 8 laps of this race. Dylan Young will now take over in the Hooters Ford Mustang. DeYoung looking for his 2nd win on the season. Got eliminated from the playoffs back during the round of 17, the first round. Currently in the playoff points, obviously including the eliminated drivers, DeYoung is 17th of the 17 playoff competitors. Will Goss now trying to make it a Young Motorsports 1-2 as he'll look to the inside of Casey Hoyt. 3 of the Young Motorsports Fords now up inside the top 5 with RJ Bishop completing the pass around Matt Haas, and right in between them is Matt McIntyre coming off leading the most laps at Hanford 2 weeks ago and then finishing 2nd place last week to Levi McIntyre at Arizona. That's some good momentum recently for the 21 car out of Michael Norman Motorsports, but now he gets kicked up to the outside line. Keith Batson looks to the bottom, and teammates going to duke it out for the 3rd position, Will Goss and RJ Bishop. Goss looking for his 3rd win on the year, Bishop looking for his 1st. Another driver making his way up towards the top 10 of playoff contenders, and that's Matt Rodriguez. Last time I scored in the 13th position. Rodriguez, the 3-time winner, Daytona 500 winner, a winner during the playoffs in the very first playoff race at Gateway. And looking to maybe win and advance his way into the Final Four to compete for the championship. Let's see about some of our other playoff drivers, if they'd made any forward progress. Doesn't look like it right now. Jessica Shelton currently back in the 32nd position. Ryan Butcher currently in 36th. Reese Banks in 37th. Zach Rogers 39th. Actually make that 38th. And Dylan Pote right now in the 40th position. Cole Beaver and Anthony McCurry right now at the tail end of the field. Doesn't look like anybody off the pace at this point in time, so that's certainly good to see. And we ended up seeing yesterday in the Duracell Ultra Light Series race that you can be running mid-pack and work your way up to the front of the field through some strategy, through some short pitting, the undercut potentially. So those drivers, those playoff drivers that we see at the back of the pack right now may not necessarily be there at the conclusion. Based off the fuel window we had yesterday from the lights race, these drivers will probably have to make 2 pit stops here today. First pit stop will probably be somewhere in the vicinity of the next 13 laps or so, somewhere between laps 30 to 35 as battle on for third again. Teammates, Bishop in the 98, Goss in the 11. Will Goss going to hold him off there, that outside line as the run goes on, especially through 3 and 4, a little bit more preferred. Get back to the throttle a little sooner. Look at the run that Goss was able to get there off of turn 4 and on the front straightaway. Makes the move easily to the inside of Casey Hoyt to move into the runner-up spot. See if he tries to make the exact same type of move here through 3 and 4, get a run on his teammate Dylan Young for the race lead. Not quite going to be able to do it this time. As a matter of fact, Casey Hoyt going to cross him over for P2. Chris Dollerton, good run there for the former champion. Right now holding down the 7th position. Chris Dollerton, we know, not returning to the series next season. Zachary Fitzwater moving over to the 83 next year for Blue Oval Automotive. Austin LaPlante moving to the inside here of Matt McIntyre for the top spot. Actually, correction, not top spot, but for 9th place, I should say. Or is that 8th? That's actually for 8th. Of course, Austin LaPlante, most recently eliminated from the playoffs as well. It was interesting because you look at the drivers that got eliminated in the last round, and Keith Batts and Austin LaPlante both qualified very well for this race. You got to think that they are looking for a little bit of redemption, no longer in the championship battle, but that doesn't mean that they can't go out there and try and get a checkered flag before the conclusion of Season 7. Both those drivers still with a 0 in the win column, as Matt Haas going to work here for the 4th position on Will Goss. Looks like RJ Bishop did complete the pass around Goss and move into 3rd, now sets his sights on the top 2. Casey Hoyt right there on the back bumper of Dylan Young, not letting him get away. Led the first 8 laps. Dylan Young has now led the last 13. Casey Hoyt realizes that if he wins today, he goes into Daytona next week. Rockingham in 2 weeks, already locked in to the Final Four to compete for the championship at Michigan. And this is definitely a tough final 3-race round for these drivers. Boston has always played its part into the schedule, but we've never had Daytona on the schedule twice. It's always been the season opener in the 500, and then we've run other super speedways. We've run Armory Digital, we've run Talladega, we've obviously this year run M&M's and Coca-Cola, but we've never run Daytona twice in a single season. So it'll be the first time we're going back to the 2.5 mile super speedway in a single season. And super speedways are always the proverbial wild card racetracks as well. Let's check in on some of our other playoff drivers here. Turner holding down the 10th position right behind Matt McIntyre. If you don't win today, you certainly want to have a pretty good run, get a nice little cushion between yourself and the cut line, which now moves up to the 4th position in points, especially knowing that you've got Daytona on the horizon, a track where they're going to be wadded up, double and 3 wide. A lot of points going to be on the table and could be gained and or lost depending on if you're swept up into the big one. Matthew Rodriguez right now the 3rd highest running playoff contender, holding down the 15th position, right in front of a former winner at this racetrack in Charles Sanford. Sanford now can look to the bottom. Charles took the checkered flag here back in Season 3. And it looks like he's going to complete the pass here on Matthew Rodriguez, who then will find himself battling with a familiar car. Car that he ended up winning the Daytona 500 in, the number 80 out of Haas Racing. That's Reggie Fogelman, right now holding down the 17th position. Fogelman and Kyler Sustre locked into the field here this weekend with no other non-charter drivers showing up. That won't be the case next week. We got a lot of non-charter drivers that are listed to try and make their way into that Daytona race. But Fogelman making the pass there on Matthew Rodriguez up to 16th, and Kyler Sustre having a good run right now up inside of the top 10. There he is. 6th position right now for the Yamaha Chevrolet Camaro. Good battling back here just inside of the top 10. Rob Evans, regular season champion. Got his first career victory during the playoffs back at Nashville Super Speedway, the 3rd playoff race that advanced him into the round of 12, but had a horrible round of 12 after that. Suffered back-to-back DNFs in the first 2 races and was unable to get the points necessary last week at Arizona to advance into this round of 8. So out of the playoffs is the regular season champ, but right now running very well in the 11th position, trying to make his way up here into the top 10. Maybe have a shot at his 2nd career victory. We're going to look a little bit further back here, try and see if some of our other playoff contenders are working their way forward. Reese Banks there, right now in the 28th position. When we go to Daytona next week, it will be an exact 1-season anniversary since Reese Banks' first and up to this point only career victory. Last year, the Super Speedway that was the middle race of the round of 8 was Talladega Super Speedway. Banks was not in the playoffs, but that's where he ended up getting his first career checkered flag. And back here you've got Levi McIntyre, 2-time winner on the season, the winner from last week at Arizona Speedway. First time that Levi McIntyre has had a multi-win season in his Duracell Cup Series career. But look at the Duracell gold, or copper I guess you could say, spoilers and splitters we've got back here. Shelton, Ryan Butcher, Zach Rogers, Dylan Poteet. I mean, this is not good for these guys right at the moment. They are right now being scored in 33rd, 34th, 35th, and 37th. And then we got some others way back here. Destin Bolin, Carson Gum, Connor Breton, who was eliminated from the playoffs last week at Arizona, the 3-time winner, right now holding down the tail end of the field. We're around the point when I think these drivers can go the furthest before they're going to have to pit. They're coming to complete lap 34, going on to 35. So I think we're going to see some drivers make the dive onto pit road pretty soon. If they're able to go, though, another 3 or 4 laps, they might be able to make it on 1 stop. I thought it'd be a 2-stop race because we're going an extra 25 laps over what we did in the lights race yesterday. But they could potentially reach halfway, and this could just be a 1-stop race. We'll see. Top 3, still nose to tail, Young, Hoyt, and Bishop. Then Matt Haas in 4th, trying to reel them in. A big gap from him back to 5th place, which is now Austin LaPlante in the 48. Will Goss back into 6th. And Kyler Sustre looking on in 7th. But the field is definitely spread out at the front. 4 cars in this group, then another 3 cars in the second group. And then it looks like it's another 4 or 5 cars in the third group, being led by Chris Dollerton. If you're wondering about lap times in terms of tire wear, This time by Dylan Young, a 24.762. That is a second and a half slower than his fastest lap. And it's about the same for the drivers behind him that are still getting the benefit of draft. About a second and a half slower for Hoyt, second and a half slower for Bishop, and I think pit road is going to be a busy place. Here we go. Right on the halfway point, literally right on the cusp. As Matthew Rodriguez is going to stay out in the 24. He wants that bonus point for a lap led. Zach Rogers already on the pit lane there, was running at the back, and looks like he's trying to play a little strategy here to gain track position. Same for Kyle Matthews. Michael Norman, Anthony McCurry also already on the pit lane. As Rodriguez got the lap led, gets the bonus point. Now he'll head for pit road. Ryan Brommer, former winner here from Season 4. Going to come down with him. Reggie Fogelman, Nick Gunther, Caleb Fogler. Got some playoff drivers coming down in this group as well, with Ryan Butcher and the defending winner Jessica Shelton. So who does this cycle the lead around to? As we've got some smoke on the front straightaway. No caution, though. Green flag still out, so not certain what those skid marks are in relation to, who they involved. LaPlante's going to come out ahead of both Casey Hoyt and RJ Bishop. So too is Will Goss potentially. But I think Dylan Young's going to be the one that's going to be the race leader, as he has a huge gap back to Austin LaPlante. That smoke still lingering there on the front stretch, but no yellow flag flew. So either we didn't have anybody in the vicinity, or it was deemed off the racing surface, though the skid marks look like they're up above the yellow line, so I'm not necessarily certain. I mean, you can see right there, whoever it was looped it around off of 4 and then spun back up onto the racetrack across the start-finish line. We'll try and document who that is. Potentially might have been the 12 of Destin Bolin. Our NSCRA split cam will show you that as we remain under green. But Dylan Young currently holding a nearly 1.4 second gap back to now Casey Hoyt, who was able to make his way around Austin LaPlante. RJ Bishop going to try and show the nose here for second place, take advantage of the fresh tires. Will Goss right now in 4th, and LaPlante gets shuffled back to the 5th position. Young Motorsports 1-2-4 right now for their Ford Mustangs. And Bishop and Hoyt are starting to close in on Dylan Young, potentially bringing Will Goss and Austin LaPlante along with them. Looks like Quentin Moore going to go a lap down here in the 89. Dylan Young completes the pass on him. Destin Bolin is the 4th entry out of Young Motorsports, and he is currently a lap down as well. So 2 drivers currently off the lead lap. All 42 cars, though, are still running. And now the question mark is, did these drivers have enough fuel to make it the rest of the way? They came to pit road. Most of them came to pit road at the completion of lap 38. That is right on the halfway mark. We had a couple of drivers also on pit road the lap before that. So they could be about 2 laps short. Dylan Young could be about 1 lap short. You got to look in the direction of the drivers that went that extra lap, like Matthew Rodriguez, Ryan Brommer, Reggie Fogelman, Nick Gunther. They might be the ones that absolutely know they can make it the rest of the way on fuel, as teammates about to duke it out for the top position. RJ Bishop completed the pass around the lap car of Quentin Moore, and now looks to the inside of Dylan Young for the top position. So far, we have had only 4 different drivers out in front today. Bishop will be the 5th. Dylan Young has led 35 laps. Casey Hoyt, after starting on pole, led the first 8. We saw Matthew Rodriguez lead a lap there on pit strategy, and Reggie Fogelman led a lap on pit road. And now RJ Bishop takes over in the 98 car. 2-time winner last season, still looking for that first win of season 8. Bishop comes into this race 28th in points with 4 top 5s and 8 top 10s. But as of right now, he's not yet driven away from his teammate Dylan Young. Casey Hoyt now looking to make his move to the inside of Quentin Moore and make it a 3-man fight for the top spot. Moore throwing a little bit of a block on him going there into turn 3. LaPlante continues to fall back as Kyler Sustre has now moved up into the 4th spot. Will Goss now to 5th, Matt Haas to 6th, and that shuffles LaPlante all the way back to 7th. 8th place right now, good run there for our Watkins Glen winner, Nathan Ormond. 9th place is Chris Dollerton, and Michael Norman right now holding down the final spot inside of the top 10. 11th place under contest, Kyle Matthews, Keith Batson side by side. You've got Rob Evans in this group, along with Ryan Brommer, Cody Lamas, and playoff contender Matthew Rodriguez, who right now is in the 16th position, which means that Casey Hoyt is the only playoff contender inside the top 10. Rodriguez and Jesse Turner inside of the top 20. Looks like Zach Rogers picked up some spots. Remember, he was part of the short pit guys. Came in pit road about a lap sooner than most of the rest of the leaders, and he picked up some spots as a result. He's up in the 19th position, just ahead of Charles Sanford. So the short pit strat, that's about 2.5 seconds. You were able to gain on fresh tires, gaining him track position. Reese Banks right now in 27th. Dylan Pote, who started 42nd, has gained 14 spots here in the first 2/3 of this race, up to 28th. Jessica Shelton still struggling, though, back here in 32nd. I would have thought she would have been a driver that would have picked up spots on a green flag pit stops. I go back to a couple of races that we've had in the past couple of months, and this team has always seemed to be the one that utilizes pit road and pit road strategy to gain track position. Not the case, though, as she's battling here with last week's winner Levi McIntyre. And 36 is where we find Ryan Butcher in the 78 car. Not a good run right now for the 94 or the 78. The 31's not doing all that well. Neither is the 44. So if you're looking right now potentially at the 4 drivers that would be below the cut line heading into next week at Daytona, you might have to look at Banks, Poteet, Shelton, and Butcher as things are currently scored. But then again, as I said, that green flag pit stop round was right at the halfway point. So we don't know for certain if these drivers can make it the rest of the way on fuel, or if we may see some drivers have to duck onto pit lane in the closing stages of this one, as we will be at 20 laps to go this time by. The battle is on for second, and it's taking place about a half second to 6/10 behind RJ Bishop. Now we know Dylan Young came to pit road of theoretically the second group at the completion of lap 38. I believe RJ Bishop came to pit road the same lap as did Casey Hoyt. So all 3 of these drivers would be right around the same fuel number of whether they can make it the rest of the way or not. The highest running of the drivers that came down pit road of the third group, I think, would still be Matthew Rodriguez. So if anybody right now is to the good on fuel, it would be the 24. Next highest, I think, would be the 80, I think. No, it would actually be the 55 of Nick Gunther, who is right now in 21st place. Not sure where the 80 of Reggie Fogelman faded back to. Scoring currently has him in 32nd. So he lost a ton of time at some point, as Anthony McCrory in the 61 getting lapped here. Right now in 41st place. He is one of 3 drivers that is a lap down now, along with Quentin Moore and Destin Bolin. And things look like, at least for the moment, that they're going to continue to trend green, which is going to make things interesting in terms of fuel. We're watching the battle for second, going on about a full second behind RJ Bishop. Casey Hoyt, that one position could be important for him, but he's had a solid day, and it goes all the way back to yesterday in qualifying. The only driver to advance into the Fast 10 of the playoff contenders got the pole position. He's already got a bonus point for a lap led here today. He and Matthew Rodriguez, the only 2 playoff drivers that have led laps so far this afternoon. And right now in line to finish no worse than 3rd place Casey Hoyt's going to have that proverbial cushion I was talking about going into Daytona, which could be very, very important with that wild card race on the horizon. Again, though, we don't know if he's going to be able to make it on fuel, but he hasn't exactly made a move on Dylan Young, which says to me he's in fuel save mode. Since I say that, he shows the nose on the 2 car going into 1. But I think he's kind of riding behind Dylan Young, saving fuel to make sure he can make it the rest of the way. I'd be a little concerned the pace that we're seeing out of the Monster Energy Ford of RJ Bishop, because he does not look like he is saving fuel at all, as he'll pull up to the back bumper of the 66 of Zachary Fitzwater, who right now is on the tail end of the lead lap in the 39th position. If I'm Bishop, I'm going to ride behind the 66 a little bit here, save some fuel, but I think there might be a difference in speed, so Bishop will go to the inside going into 3, and he'll look to put another lap car between himself and the continuing battle for 2nd. Let's fall back and look at the battle for 4th, comprised of Kyler Sustre, Nathan Orman, and Matt Haas. Got a couple of lap cars intermingled here as well with Quentin Moore and Destin Bolin. Nathan Orman looks like he may have one of the best long-run cars of the day. Now up to 5th place and looking for 4th on Kyler Sustre. Nathan Orman, of course, winning the race at Watkins Glen on pit strategy, and trying to see if he can maybe get win number 2 in preparation for his sophomore season next year with Michael Norman Motorsports. I say sophomore season with the team. It will be his, I believe, 4th full-time season. Previously driving for Joanna Atwood Motorsports before making the jump over here to Michael Norman Motorsports. Oh, also as well, last year he drove for KB Racing Enterprises, so he's been with a couple of teams. Kyler Sustre got to get to the inside of the lap car of Quentin Moore. Nathan Orman will follow him through. Let's follow up on our playoff contenders. Ryan Brommer there. 8th position for the former winner here at Boston. His teammate Laura Chung right now holding down the 9th position. Just got around Chris Dollerton for that spot. Rodriguez now in 14th and 13th rather, and look who's looking to his inside, Nick Gunther. These are 2 drivers that we know are about maybe 1 lap to the good or right on the number to make it the rest of the way. So this could potentially be an exchange for the race lead. Nick Gunther, a former winner this season from the regular season finale at Auto Club. Maybe looking for Mazda's 2nd win on the season. Jesse Turner has faded back. Reese Banks and Dylan Poteet are starting to make some forward progress here. Far cry better than where they've been most of this race. Banks going to move up to 21st, Poteet to 22nd, and shuffling back is Jesse Turner. He's going to lose 23rd and 24th right there, potentially, to Carson Gum and Connor Breton, as we nearly had a car in the wall back there off of 4. Anthony Curry split 3 wide with Qualls and Matthews. Zach Rogers, who looked like he was making forward progress, maybe they did something for an adjustment, or maybe they took on only right side tires to gain him that track position. He has since lost it all the way back to 32nd place and loses that spot now to Ryan Butcher. Jessica Shelton right now, the last of the playoff contenders, in 36th, make that 35th, is where she's battling with Jose Mills right now. Laps ticking down here. Gonna be 5 to go this time by. And RJ Bishop continues to show the way with a pretty sizable gap that has opened up now to a 2.5 back to Dylan Young. But the question remains of fuel. With the field as spread out as it is, not as clumped up as it was in the early going, the fuel window usually at the mile and a half racetracks shrinks. And these drivers went about 37 to 39 laps on a tank of fuel on the first stint. It may shrink down to somewhere around 34 to 36 laps, which would put them either just barely on the number or just short of making it the rest of the way. RJ Bishop, though, continuing to set a pretty good pace here, as he will see 3 laps to go. Casey Hoyt putting the pressure on Dylan Young for 2nd. This continues to allow RJ Bishop to open up the gap, and Hoyt will complete the pass. Wants that extra point security heading into Daytona next week. I don't think he's going to have a shot at this victory unless Bishop runs out of fuel, as the flagman will show him 2 fingers indicating 2 laps remaining here at Boston. The Fords were super strong in qualifying yesterday, sweeping the entire 3 rows. RJ Bishop looking to close it out for the Blue Ovals. As this time by, let's see, does he stay under power? He'll stay up on the racing surface, and he'll see the white flag. 1 more lap to go here at Boston International Speedway. RJ Bishop looking for his first win on the season, looking for the 4th win for Young Motorsports, and the 3rd win of his Duracell Next Gen Cup Series career. 2.5 seconds was the last time by interval from him to 2nd place. Easy sailing for the Monster Energy GT500 Mustang. RJ Bishop will win at Boston. Young Motorsports will go 1-2 as Dylan Young repassed Casey Hoyt for the runner-up spot, and Hoyt will be the highest playoff finisher, bringing it home on the podium in P3. Rest of the field crosses the start-finish line to complete today's race in preparation for Daytona next week. But RJ Bishop, first win of Season 7, takes place here in Boston. And a 1-2 finish as stated for Young Motorsports here this afternoon. Another victory for Ford. And RJ Bishop with some good momentum here near the close of Season 7 in preparation for Season 8. Race standings should be official. Let's take a look at them here with Casey Hoyt going to easily be the points leader heading into Daytona next week. Should have a pretty good points cushion between himself and 4th in the standings. Nathan Ormond worked his way up to 4th in the closing stages. Good long run car, good solid run for him. Kyler Sustre going to complete the top 5. Good run for the non-charter driver. Matt Haas brings it home, the highest running Toyota in 6th. Michael Norman worked his way up through a couple spots in the latter half of the top 10 to bring it home in 7th. Ryan Brommer in 8th. Mitchell Collins, good run there in 9th, and Laura Chung will complete the top 10. So you had Young Motorsports finish 1-2. You had 3 of the Michael Norman Motorsports cars finish in the top 10, and 2 of the Auto Junction Racing Toyotas. Nick Gunther's Mazda will bring it home in 11th. Great run for him. Same for Benjamin Miles in 12th. 13th for Chris Dollerton, Keith Batson, and Cody Lamas complete the top 15. You got to go all the way down to 16th to find our next highest finishing playoff contender in Matthew Rodriguez. Charles Sanford, Carson Gum right behind him, 17th, 18th. Then more playoff drivers in Reese Banks and Dylan Poteet. So more than likely, with those 4 finishing in the top 20, those would be the 4 currently, Hoyt, Rodriguez, Banks, and Poteet, that would be right now in the final 4 positions above the 4th in the standings cut line. The drivers that would be below the cut line and look to work their way above it starting next week at Daytona. Jesse Turner finishes back in 28th. Ryan Butcher in 31st. Jessica Shelton in 33rd. And Zach Rogers fell like a stone in the final 15 or so laps of this race, all the way back to last playoff contender running in the 36th position. Couple of former winners from the last time out. Joshua Osborne from Hillside, Levi McIntyre from Arizona. Not the runs those 2 drivers were looking for, as they were the last 2 to finish on the lead lap. And then 4 drivers finished a lap down. Fitzwater, Bolin, Quentin Moore, and Anthony McCrory. All 42 cars, though, did reach the conclusion under power. But 75 laps, all green flag. RJ Bishop's team, the execution on pit road, and the strong car on the long run left the rest of the competition in the dust to pick up the victory here this afternoon at Boston International. Be interesting to see what the points will look like as far as the gap from 4th back to 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th heading into the wild card race next week at Daytona. But if you enjoyed today's race here, be sure to give this video a like, subscribe, and become part of the crew today. We showed you your full figure results, and you're now looking at your points and your playoff points heading into next week Daytona International Speedway, for the first time ever, makes a return on the Duracell Cup Series schedule since the Daytona 500. Wildcard race waiting in the wings should play its part for sure into who may advance into the Final Four and who will not. We then pack it up and head to the historical Rockingham Speedway to set the Final Four, and then we see the Duracell Ultralight Series drivers and the Cup drivers for their final doubleheader of the season in the season finale at Michigan. So all that on tap and more coming up here in the next couple of weeks. Hope you guys will join us for those. Once again, congratulations to RJ Bishop on the victory here today. We'll see you guys next week from Daytona, as you've been watching the broadcast courtesy of NNSCRA TV, offline racing at its best.